Seed Kei Nishikori. Murray at the top of your screen. Nishikori at the bottom, just hanging out in the shadows, which come around a lot earlier now, just 1:48 in the afternoon here in New York. But because of the retractable roof, which is wide open, those shadows start to creep across much earlier in the day.
Ready.
On a glorious Wednesday, 2012 champion Andy Murray serves to 2014 runner-up Kei Nishikori, and we're underway.
And we'll see if that's a tactic from Nishikori. Again, he looked very early on in that point to open up the court as soon as he could. And as soon as he did, to Murray's backhand side, he followed it in without hesitation. I don't think that he wants to engage in these prolonged rallies from the baseline, giving Murray a chance to neutralize.
Oh, you got to have some quick reactions. Oh,
darn.
What could have been, sir, a souvenir of the highest order.
Not for lack of effort.
Nishikori thought about coming in.
He did. You see that? Yeah, and that's a great play. I tell my students that all the time at the academy, is if you are intending to come in and you don't hit a good ball, that's okay. Take a step backwards. You're still in control of the point. You can do it on the next shot. So I think the worst thing to do is to come in when you're putting the opponent in a favorable position to pass you.
Or certainly when you're not committed to it. If you come in tentatively, also, you're setting yourself up ripely to get burned.
That's true, but in that case, that point, I felt like Nishikori was committed to it, and he's like, oh, God, that approach was not good. Let me retry.
Fair enough. So difficult start for Murray right out of the gates, opening minute, and he's in a love 30 hole.
Love 40. Fifteen, 14.
Just before he took the court, fist bump with the three-time U.S. Open champion on the left, Lendl, and Coach Jamie Delgado. Not the start Murray was hoping for, but maybe he can extricate himself.
30, 14.
He'll face a third break point. That's part of the problem, isn't it? And why you alluded to the fact Nishikori gets a little trigger happy as the rally wears on with Murray.
And I don't mind if he gets trigger happy trying to hit the court wide, spread it wide, but I don't like that miss over the baseline. I don't know if he's trying to back Murray up, but that doesn't seem to bother Murray. If you get your opponent, like an opponent like Murray, outside of the court, then you open up avenues to attack.
3 errors by Nishikori nullifies his love 40 start.
Advantage, Murray. Kei Murray.
Well, maybe it was just a hiccup, but whatever it was, Andy Murray runs off 5 straight points, and instead of being broken, has the hold. 1-love in favor of the 2 seed. Well, going back to Nishikori's idea and the strategy that he and Michael Chang and his coach Bettini as well would have had beforehand is the fact that you have to be a little more aggressive and make a concerted effort to get in. Try not to get in those long rallies. It just doesn't seem, well, history hasn't shown that it's worked for Nishikori in the past against Murray.
Right, and I think aggressive in the right way. Like, you can go out on the court and be aggressive by trying to hit through the opponent fast and flat. You can go be aggressive by serving, volleying, and chipping and charging, staying close to the baseline, standing inside. You have to do it the right way versus your opponent. And with Murray, again, what made Nishikori successful in the first couple of points is he really got Murray outside of the doubles alleys, and that opens up opportunities to come forward and finish off with easy volleys.
We'll see how Nishikori responds to the disappointment of not having the opening game.
Case in point, right there. Awesome forehand. Couple inches away from the sideline, really opened up a huge opportunity for Nishikori to finish that point off up at net. Awesome stuff from Kei Nishikori. And actually stepped out of the way to hit an inside-out backhand. Got a little more angle on that, was able to follow it in, finish with easy volley.
That's it, 15.
Now it's the first point. Murray decided to play a little offense, and you can just see the difference between the two when they're on defenses. Murray just looks like he's very solid, tough to hurt, and Nishikori just doesn't like it. He's a little bit of a fish out of water. I'd say that is the biggest discrepancy. That in the first serve is Nishikori's offense is a little bit under the average level out here, and his first serve is a little under the average out here on the court.
Forty, 30.
And Nishikori matches for 1-all. A lot of discussion about who's the hottest player coming into this tournament for many, and you can understand why. The numbers bear it out with 26 record for Murray arriving to this spot in the quarterfinals. People are wondering that one loss. That one loss, was that disappointing and therefore kind of a little bit of an emotional letdown, or in some ways has that helped Andy Murray? And a viewer has a question for you, Taylor.
15 love.
Those Aussies, you know, they're big sports fans, and they're all, well, you would know that. Father Phil, a standout Australian himself, passing down that lineage, but a lot with questions concerning Murray.
30 love.
And just picking randomly from the group, Stephanie from Charlestown wants to know if that loss to Cilic, was that a good thing or a bad thing? Did that set him up so he didn't come in here on this on an impressive like 24 match win streak, having not lost in the better part of almost 2 months? Was there an advantage in that?
I think that obviously hindsight is 20/20, and seeing the way that Murray has come in here and performed, it certainly wasn't a bad thing. I mean, if you ask him, he'd say, well, I'd rather have the title. But if you're going to tell me I'll either have that title or the U.S. Open title, I'm taking the U.S. Open title. So I don't really think it's a bad thing. I don't think it had to be that way for him to come in here. It seems like he's certainly focused as can be ever since Lendl's come back on board.
Murray.
He certainly has put together a nice run. That loss to Cilic in the Cincy final ended a 22-match win streak, a personal best for Murray.
Thank you.
Opponents that have been ranked 1 or 2 in the world have knocked him back a step in all 12 appearances. A goose egg against 12 attempts to beat a player ranked 1 or 2 in the world. So he's back to the drawing board, hoping that today, September 7th, 2016, is the day he finally records that victory. And in doing so, taking out Murray, advances to his second U.S. Open semifinal. Serving 1-2.
I don't think Murray ever loses those little cat and mouse dinky points. And I played Murray a few times, and I tell you what, that's the most frustrating part for me about playing Murray is I'd get to the net, I was decent up there, and I just felt like I had no chance. He could hit too many shots. He could get it low below the net slow. He could lob me, rip it past me. Too many options. It's not fair.
First time Nishikori has lost a point when coming in the middle of the court, and it was a pretty spectacular lob.
And that's actually a good point. Nishikori's already made 6 trips to the net in just 3 games of play. Nice. Look at where Murray's standing. That's where he hit that ball from. So now, if you get your opponent out there, you're coming in. This next ball, you're coming in and you're rushing him to the open court. You just don't know how you're going to do it. Is it going to be taking a forehand early? Is it going to be, a swing volley out of the air? The only way Murray gets out of trouble there is if he does some really big damage to Nishikori to turn the table back a little bit, the tides back.
We're going to have to revisit that point you made a little moment ago. You've been in that situation. You've experienced what it's like to be at the net against Murray and the options he has. Just what's running through your mind. Well, let's give you a few minutes to try and recall those memories about what your thought process is as you're approaching. And because he has so many weapons, how you go about, all right, he's not going to go there, he's not going to go there. These are the 2 things I got to watch out most for. Or maybe it's not just 2.
I would say it has more to do with what he likes rather than what he can or can't do, because he can do it all, but there are certain passing shots he likes more than others.
That's it, quarter.
Well, it's Nishikori who finds himself facing break point now for the first time. He was unable to convert any of the not one, not two, but 3 break points in the opening game as Murray held him off. So that was disappointing for Kei, to say the least. But now it would be really tough to swallow if he falls behind 3-1 here. And it will be just that, a little bitter that he has surrendered serve so early. The grimace from Nishikori lets everybody know he realizes that's early trouble he can ill afford. 3-1 in favor of Murray.
We played 2 really bad points that game, and if you play 2 bad points against a returner like Andy Murray, that's almost a guaranteed break of serve. He missed that backhand where he was deep behind the court. He missed it in the net. If you're going to miss that far back, you got to miss long, and also the double fault.
Don't forget to go to usopen.org to see the schedule for tomorrow's action. Remember, we've gone from 256 singles players. By tomorrow, there will only be 8 left. For the semifinal schedule, go to usopen.org and click on, schedule. I'll tell you everything you need to know. I can't help but want to go back, revisit the question from Stephanie from Charlestown, Australia, about whether or not psychologically the loss to Cilic. Obviously, he'd love the title. He wants to come in with a winning feeling, momentum. But at a major, when you come in, if you're on a long win streak and considerably a personal best, every interview is going to start with, wow, you're playing really great, isn't it? Oh, you haven't lost a match in so long. I guess you'd like to have that. That's a feeling you'd like to be able to report because you feel you're at the height of your game, but it just seems to put a big extra bullseye on your chest. And again, I don't mean to suggest, I just find it an intriguing question because everybody wants to win.
No, it's a great question. It's a great question. And I think if I believed that Murray wasn't as mentally resilient and tough as he is now, I'd say for sure that helped him. But I just feel like there's another bout of incredible determination now that Lendl's back in his corner. And whether he won or lost that match, look, he knows what he's playing for. He's playing for Grand Slam titles. So I'm sure he'd say, yeah, great, I won. Yeah, you know, unfortunately I lost, but US Open is my prize. Awesome for him by Nishikori. I will say this. So, you know, I was ranked in, you know, from 21 to 30 for, you know, a decent part of my career. If I, at my ranking, would have won Cincinnati and then come to the US Open, that would have affected me big time in a negative way, because that would have been such a high for me. I never got to, you know, even close to winning a Masters Series title. It would have been tough after coming down from that high to get back in the mindset. But these guys are just so used to winning that I don't think it's that big of a deal for them.
Winning and being in contention to win. Think of the run that Murray's been on now. 7 events entering New York, 7 finals.
Yeah.
And he's going for his 4th consecutive final.
Cheating. He's getting a little shade from the roof there.
Yeah, coming out of the shade in as many majors, 4 majors this year. Australian Open runner-up, Roland Garros runner-up, Wimbledon champion, Rio gold medalist, the US Open final, just 2 match wins away. Quite a season for Andy. Now he can't hide in the shadows any longer.
40-13. Is the Nishikori showing a call on right center size line? The ball's called in.
Cicak says that Nishikori wants to see the serve again via the chase review. He doesn't believe this found any of the white line. He didn't move. He was pretty resolute. And his challenge is a correct one.
Thought Nishikori was going to pay earlier in this point by going down the line not effectively enough. He ended up having to recover a very big angle from Murray. And then Andy just caught leaning a little bit to the backhand side.
We'll be keeping track of these type of exchanges, longer rallies to see who is gaining the upper hand. Nishikori getting a little hop, skip, and jump backhand for the winner. His second from the backhand side.
Advantage, Murray.
Not many coaches like the hop two-handed backhand jump, and you can avoid that by moving up to the ball quick enough, and that way you cut it off, cut the ball height off, about a foot and a half earlier. But if you've missed that opportunity, sometimes that's what you need to do to put it in your strike zone.
And Nishikori can't make inroads, though he got it to deuce. Murray consolidates the break. 3 straight games. Scoreboard, a little bottom heavy to start. 24 minutes. Murray, 4-1. 26 minutes.
First available seat for now, please. Players are ready. Thank you.
Chair umpire Cicak asking for the crowd to settle for a moment. That gives us a chance to let you know how Kei Nishikori is making his return to Arthur Ashe Stadium. This is the first match that he has played since he played Marin Cilic in the final of this tournament 2 years ago, right here on this court.
Let's serve.
Now, part of the reason he lost opening round last year, but the scheduling hasn't allowed him access to the court this event until now, whereas Andy Murray himself, basically a permanent fixture. So Taylor Dent, you know what the question is. Go ahead and answer it. Who has a, is that a distinctive advantage for Murray?
No, not for Nishikori. Nishikori is a guy with a bunch of experience. I think it's fine.
Now, you know I take everything you say to heart, and I trust you implicitly. Here's the only asterisk I'll put to that. Roof, there it is.
Thank you. You just made my next point. Where was the only place that Nishikori has beaten Andy Murray?
It was indoors at the O2 Arena in London.
So if you're going to be splitting hairs, you'd have to say, well, this is closer to an indoor building, so therefore it's going to benefit Nishikori more than it's going to benefit Murray.
You say, Jew. Missed it. 30-15. I
But-
guess the only aspect I would say is, yeah, you make a good point, but the roof isn't closed. It's not an indoor match here. And also, Murray has been able to adjust with a couple of matches here in the current configuration that 2 years ago didn't exist for Nishikori.
I think that these guys play on so many stadiums, so many different courts, that it's negligible.
Okay, conversation over. Pulled wide as Nishikori now starting to see his unforced errors total just climb. That is very advantageous for Murray, who, with the 10 gifts he's been given from Nishikori, finds himself with a chance for a little insurance. Plunk down a little bit for a cushion. 5-1. Serve for the set. He'd be very content to do so.
And this is a really uncomfortable spot for Nishikori. Forget about this set just for the match. His offense right now, when he's executing it well, is good enough. You know, we've seen it work. But unfortunately for him, like you said, he's got 10 unforced errors. He's just having to go for more than he wants to today. And when he doesn't get on offense, Murray's been beating him up a little bit. So the question, you know, and this is always the question, is am I playing the right way out on the court? And from Nishikori's perspective, you're kind of faced, well, do I risk giving Murray the offense, even though that's not how I want to play, but I'm missing so many balls? Or do I just keep trying to play offense the right way, my game, and hope my execution turns around? And unfortunately, we won't know the right answer until we've seen more of the match.
Advantage, Murray.
Nishikori with his second double fault. Interesting to note that amongst the remaining players in the draw, Nishikori had the highest percentage of second serve points won, 59%. Today, 2 of 10.
Yes.
Guess who was second?
Probably Andy Murray.
You would be right.
Well, but that's not really a coincidence, is it? I mean, I don't think that anybody would say Nishikori is in the top 10 because of his first serve, getting cheap points. I mean, he's in the top 10 because of his prowess from the baseline. And generally, the better you are from the baseline, the higher your second serve win percentage will be because you can back it up so well.
So if you have a high second serve win percentage, you're winning rallies.
Exactly. Or you're John Isner.
There will be no mistaking Nishikori for Isner on the court, so yeah, he must be backing up nicely with rallies. By the way, conversely, Andy Murray has won 4 of 6 points on his second serve. He was at 1 point behind, 58% success amongst those remaining here at the U.S. Open on second serve points won. He'll have his 5th break point at the ready for a 5-1 lead. And help once again. Yeah, it's just been difficult. Nishikori pressing a bit too much, and when it matters most, he commits his 13th error. The baker's dozen means a 5-1 deficit. And Murray now can shut down set number 1 to his advantage.
It'll be interesting to see what Nishikori decides to do. Is he going to give his shots a little more margin, a little more spin, a little more safety, and make Murray come up with the offense? Or is he just going to stick to his guns and hope that fate turns around?
Four points from a 1-set lead.
15-11. That's a 15.
That gets some oohs and ahs. Fair bit of pop on the serve of Murray. Won't go in as an ace, but it will be recorded as a 134 mile/hour offering. Nishikori cannot put back in play. The next one at 133. And just like that, very quick work for Murray in this game. Put himself to double set point. Number 2 player in the world. Won his last 6 quarterfinal appearances at majors. 1 set to the good in New York. Nishikori to start set number 2 from the line. That is not how he wanted the score line to look. Not even close.
Second set.
6-1 in favor of Murray as he's closing, hoping for some tennis amnesia here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Set number 2 is set to get underway. Some appreciation from the fans as they settle into their seats, seeing this quarterfinal for a spot amongst the final 4 in New York. Winner to face Del Potro or Wawrinka. That match later tonight on the lights. Kei Nishikori reaching the final here 2 years ago. That was a wonder. First Asian male to ever reach a major final. For him, the only problem, Taylor, since hasn't been back to a quarterfinal at a major.
I wouldn't hold that against him, though. I mean, he's struggling a little bit with injuries. He hasn't been playing a whole lot of tennis. I mean, how would you like it if you were hurt what feels like half the time on tour and yet you're still ranked top 10?
I wouldn't. Although, yeah, actually I would, because that means I'm top 10 and I'm not very good.
That's
But in the case of Nishikori, it's interesting you bring that up because there is some truth to it, but there's also the other side that this is the first year that at all 4 majors he's reached at least the round of 16. Now that says he's been relatively healthy come at least the 4 majors. But there have been some hurdles, and there's obviously a couple of players that go by, oh, I don't know, nicknamed the Big Four, that seem to get in the way quite often.
Structure was good. That's
Call from the chair, overrule on the out call, and Nishikori will get another first serve, which will help him. Again, 2-11 on his second offering. That's just 18%, but 10 of 14 on his first. That's a nifty little something, something.
I like that. I can't believe that works against Andy Murray. One of the, if not the fastest guy on tour, just totally fooled him. Got him out of nowhere. We'll see if he tries that again and if it works the next time.
Yeah, that was dirty. And that's in a good way. It was in control of the point and snuck in as Nishikori was vulnerable, but Andy can't convert, and there's the hold for 1-love. How important was that hold for Nishikori to restart this match for himself?
Huge, huge. I mean, you just got stomped in the first set 6-1. You need to kind of make the statement that, okay, new set, let's start over, let's mentally hit the reset button and put in a good effort. But you know, Nishikori, that's one of his biggest attributes, is his toughness, his fight. He really is strong out there, and as long as he's healthy, he will compete till the bitter end.
Well, just as we were extolling the virtues of Mother Nature and her appreciation of the sport of tennis, bringing the sun out earlier today, some rolling in of some heavy clouds overhead. Not saying that they're cumulus nimbus or whatever it is that produces precipitation, but
they look dark.
Yeah, there's some big clouds overhead. We'll see if they just push through and have no impact on play, which is our hope. Pretty dark and stormy for Nishikori in the opening set, thanks to this man.
Love.
Their last meeting in the semifinals in Rio, as Murray was pursuing his second straight Olympic gold medal, beat Nishikori 6-1, 6-4. Would go on to beat Juan Martín del Potro in the championship match to take gold, and Del Potro would pick up the silver, his second Olympic singles medal, having won bronze in London 2012. Sometimes it's fun to look over and see you shake your head and go, wow.
It's scary good. How do you hurt a guy? How do you deal with a guy that can just play offense like that whenever he wants, and when it's your turn to slug away and try and win a point, he's just so fast and so consistent. It's frustrating.
Lendl, three-time U.S. Open champion.
Like that. You know, Nishikori couldn't hit a much better return, and Murray 2 steps over, flicks the ball low, and now where's Nishikori going to put that half volley? There's nowhere he can put it where he's not in big trouble.
Murray.
Remarkable stuff. Start off set number 2 from the line. Murray doesn't lose a point. And he has 10 winners to 4 unforced errors. That's a pretty good day at the office to start.
And look at how far in he gets, taking that ball early. He's standing 3/4 court, just cutting down any chance of Nishikori recovering.
Another grimace from Nishikori as he commits another unforced error, and his game getting a bit sloppy here. And the way Murray handled Dimitrov in the previous round. This is looking eerily reminiscent. Memory serves correct, Taylor. It was around 43 unforced errors or so that Grigor hit in his match because he just couldn't find a rhythm and was forced to really try to hit too big, push Murray around, and it just didn't work.
And I think that Dimitrov has a little bit more option to play defensive tennis than Nishikori does. You know, that's kind of how he made his first climb up to top 10. Good solid point from both fellas out there. And you know, when I watch Murray play, and Djokovic for this matter, I love watching not only their lateral movement, their side-to-side movement, but how much they dip inside the court, back outside the court. They're all over the place. If they see something weak, they'll scream up there, take it early. If they get hurt, they'll back up.
Murray himself become a little more error prone. He only had 3 unforced errors in the entirety of the opening 35 minutes, set number 1. He's already matched that. Go ahead and make it 4 errors. He's surpassed that negative statistic in set 1, and that gives Nishikori access to a 2-1 lead, trying to come back from a set down.
Second set. Last set.
Back inside Arthur Ashe Stadium with the roof open, Andy Murray trying to get back to the final of this tournament he won 4 years ago. 4 years prior, don't forget, he had reached the final as well. One of the areas that a lot of people found intriguing was all the difficulties that Murray had in finally getting over the hump to win his first major after being denied 4 times in his first trips to the last day of a championship. Lendl had the same sort of difficulties before he was finally able to get on the board and take home some major hardware. All 3 of Murray's major titles have come with Ivan Lendl in his corner. But in our conversations before, it's not necessarily X's and O's that you believe that Lendl's had the biggest influence. Much of it above the shoulders and between the ears.
And I think discipline too. I think that they clash at times, but Lendl seems to be able to, you know, just get Andy Murray to do the work, whether he wants to do it or not.
That's your love.
Whether he wants to do it or not, when it comes from a player the caliber of Lendl, particularly here at the US Open, where he had that run, if memory serves, I believe it was 8 consecutive finals here in New York. Remarkable. So he has to take heed of what Lendl's advice is, even sometimes if it isn't what first came into his mind, because he knows the type of player Lendl was and the success he was able to reap.
That's a 15. Tiratiol.
26 of the last 27 matches with Lendl and Chang. Never really seems to give a lot away. Neither coach too demonstrative or emotional.
Chang gets into it at the end of matches. If we get to see some looks over at Chang at the end of the match, especially if he feels like Nishikori's maybe lacking some focus or some intensity.
I'll take the sunglasses off and give him the stare.
Oh, he'll get it going.
Party 13.
It was pretty blue when this match began overhead, as now the cloud's starting to just move in, and maybe a couple droplets starting to sprinkle out onto the court. That's an indication. A little bit more that there is, and Murray and Nishikori are starting to walk towards their chairs. So just as we were starting to say, the Mother Nature was going to intervene, or at least potentially could, well, it seems she has. And that puts a little stopgap in here, and if this is a delay that requires the roof to close, as it does even quickly with 7 minutes, how does this affect the match at this point?
Oh, well, I mean, again, I think that this stadium is so big that it's tough to call it an indoor stadium even when the roof is closed. You know, it does get a little noisier and you do hear the ball bounce off, but I was actually told that there's so much time in between when you hit the ball and you hear the echo come back from the roof that takes some getting used to as well. But if you were looking for some silver lining for Nishikori, well, that's it, right? I mean, the only time he's beaten Andy Murray was in the O2 Arena in an indoor setting, and this is potentially about to be an indoor match.
We're waiting for the word. Brian Early has come out onto the court, and there's a momentary pause here just to check the lines, make sure all's okay, but there has not seemed to be the indication that he's called for those big rotors to start turning and pull this roof closed.
I would be using any excuse to use those bad boys, right? I mean, that's what we spent $150 million to do. I mean, if I even smell the rain in the air, we're shutting that door. Shutting the roof.
That could be dangerous. What if someone's burning one of those candles that has that sort of rain essence?
I've never smelled that before.
Yes, you have. But it is a ridiculous proposition, so I'll rescind that for the moment. Yeah, it looks as if there is the belief that this is going to sort of push through. It's just a light sprinkle that had come down for the moment to cause the pause. There you see Brian Early, blue shirt, blue tie, at the ready, as Cicek has gone out herself, come down the ladder to check those painted lines, which are the most dangerous aspect of all.
Yeah, it's weird because they're painted with the same thing, but the white lines always tend to be the slipperiest part of the court.
Party 13.
Just a brief pause and back to action. Murray and Nishikori went to their chairs for the moment as tournament officials and chair umpire Maria Cicek came down to check the conditions inside Arthur Ashe Stadium, but no call for the roof to close, and a very slight delay will allow the players to return to action. Murray serving 1-2, 40-30, as things looking a bit brighter overhead. So after a 4-minute 30-second delay, no damage done to Murray's momentum as he holds for 2-all. As we come towards the business end of the U.S. Open, the last couple of days, 4 more after this middle Wednesday. USOpen.org is where you can get information from a historical perspective, look at past champions, matches that have occurred on all the big courts here. The grandstand has been moved. There's a new one in the southwest corner. The old grandstand underneath Louis Armstrong Stadium is about to go away, as is Louis Armstrong Stadium itself. A wealth of information about the history of this tournament at USOpen.org. Yeah, 19 years as the centerpiece of this public facility, Louis Armstrong Stadium, named after Satchmo, the jazz great. Seen its final competition yesterday. The Lopez duo of Feliciano and Mark beat the Bryan brothers for the final match there. Nishikori's forehand misses the mark as he has certainly shored up his game, Taylor, in this set as far as unforced errors, but that's his 4th now in this set alone amongst the 18 that he has produced today. Tomorrow is going to be a free day to get into the grounds. Fans around the area that come out will have access to get all over the USTA Billie Jean King National Tennis Center. Not access to seats in Arthur Ashe, mind you, but everywhere else, and they'll have a big rocking send-off to Louis Armstrong Stadium tomorrow. Challenge coming, chase review. And Murray almost looks as if he wishes he hadn't put up the challenge. And you can see why. First ace today for Kei.
Murray has 2 challenges remaining.
That was a really good sneak in. Unbelievable legs for Andy Murray to be able to get a second hand on that racket to rip a 2-handed backhand. I don't think Nishikori had to follow that in. He could have taken that next ball early, taken it down the line. I think he made that a little tougher on himself. I think what he was counting on was Murray to take the left hand off the racket and slice that ball. With great hands.
When he wanted to.
He should have.
He should be heading towards his chair for another racket, but good self-control because Nishikori knows he's in trouble here. Broken twice in the opening set. Never looked back after being broken at 2-1. Murray able to pounce on that and use that to his advantage, looking for 3-2 here. And the difficulties continue for Nishikori. He had only lost serve 7 times to get to the quarterfinals, but that's the 3rd time today he is broken to fall behind. In the afternoon here on a Wednesday in New York City, and the shadows have now crept all the way across the stadium floor of Arthur Ashe Stadium. Things will be a little more reconcilable for both players now. Kei Nishikori no longer has to contend with balls coming from out of the shadow into the light or the reverse. He only has to worry about Andy Murray now. But that is a considerable worry. That is a considerable task, but you can see he's up for the challenge. He's so frustrated after getting broken that last game. First point, given the fist pump, still mentally focused, emotionally in it.
Lottotti.
This 13th game has a lot of similarities from the very first opening points of this match, doesn't it?
It does.
Those 3 break points you see on screen all came with triple break point in game 1. And Nishikori, well, you saw 0 for 3 in that effort. This time he doesn't make the same mistake. Quick work for Nishikori to get the break back and return to on serve in set 2.
Isn't that awesome how that emotional mental toughness just paid off for him? Normally you don't see it happen the game after. You know, the game after you get broken, it just seems like, oh, this match is getting away from me, it's slipping away from me. That is just case in point. You know, Michael Chang is paying off for Kei Nishikori, just giving him that toughness to say, you know, it'll come. Just hang in there, keep playing the way you're supposed to be playing, and sooner or later it'll come back for you. It'll work for you.
You know, we're talking about how both of these players have been affected by their super coaches, if you will. Chang, Roland Garros champion in Nishikori's camp, and Lendl, well, 3-time US Open champion alone for Murray. It seems we talk a lot more about the mental component and a philosophical approach than we are about X's and O's with them. Oh, he tried to climb the ladder, but missed a rung.
But that's a great point. I think that's an awesome point. Is I think there are perfect coaches for different stages of development. You wouldn't want Lendl, or maybe he'd be great at it, but I don't think that's his specialty, to be working with your 10-year-old or 10 and under son who needs some really heavy technical lifting. That might be a technical coach that you have. And then you also have, you know, I'm working with a player who's 19. That's a different type of coaching. And then you start to work with these guys who are established. They're top 10 material. That is also a different type of coaching. So I feel the biggest thing that the coaches can bring to somebody who's top 10 in the world is basically maybe a little bit of tactics here or there, but mostly it's like it's the motivation. It's how to impart your game, how to be resilient and come back, how to work hard. This is how hard everybody else is working. There's another one. We saw one earlier in the first that worked out so well. And the margins are so fine at this level. You're talking about just a couple of percentage points mean the difference between being incredible, amazing, dominating, and just being ordinary out on tour. There was an incredible stat I heard a while ago about Federer's win percentage when he was dominating tennis. He had those 4 years where he absolutely dominated tennis. Guess what percentage of points he won over those 4 years?
Nishikori just dictating. It's his forehand that is giving Murray some fits. And 1 point's all he needs to head to the chair once again with a 4-3 lead. Quarterfinal action from New York continues at the 2016 US Open.
Murray.
Two wins away from reaching his 4th consecutive final and as many tries in 2016 at major tournaments. Andy Murray up a set, serving 3-4. That's wicked stuff. He likes it. You can understand why. He's become a lot more demonstrative as these years have rolled on, because undoubtedly he feels the pressure of being one of the top players and needing to perform at an even higher level. Little fist pump at the end let you know he was pretty proud of himself.
Dano.
The point before that one, you could see Nishikori signaling to himself, just to get up there, get close. The problem is when Murray decides to play offense and hit the ball big and wide like that, it's impossible to stand close. You have to be defensive. You have to be behind the baseline, retrieving those shots back.
Forty, 15.
Well, he's certainly capable of producing something fantastic. And Nishikori asked the question,
Second set.
and Murray had a brilliant answer. For all.
At that point, Nishikori really made a big effort to take every ball as early as he could. Murray saying, no thanks, don't want to challenge. That definitely looks like what the Nishikori camp, Chang and Dante Bottini talked about in the locker room. You got to take the ball early. Take away his time, take away his ability to play offense.
And it's just having his way with Murray right now. At least on his serve, as Andy's trying to hold back being taken out of this match mentally right here in this set. I mean, this is some sublime stuff.
And 3 out of 4 of these drop shots have worked, and it's because Kei has represented. He's shown that he's really offensive and in a position to hurt Murray, so Murray's on his heels. That's the best time to hit drop shots. When you're defensive and behind the baseline, not a very good time.
And Murray just goes for too much, and you could sense the frustration building up. He just decides to wail on the return. Nishikori put some scoreboard pressure in set 2 on the 2 seed.
5 games to fall, second set. First set, Murray. Seats quickly, please. Thank you. Time.
Bit of uncertainty a little earlier in the day, course of this match between Kei Nishikori and Andy Murray, whether or not the roof would close, but now it has been shut and it will stay in its current position until the conclusion of this match, thereby making it an indoor contest as Murray serves to stay in set number 2. Dominant position in the opening frame. Scoreboard indicates as much. It's been a far sterner challenge here in the second frame. We asked you, tennis fan, to opine on who this benefits most being under the roof. We'll scroll through some of your answers now. Don't forget to put your name, where you're watching, and the hashtag US Open World with your answers. Andy Murray certainly performs very well indoors, has a terrific record, and we mentioned whether liking what they see. Thunderous applause that will be echoing through Arthur Ashe Stadium as Nishikori in control.
This is exactly what Coach Chang, Michael Chang wanted, without doubt. You have to play more offensive. You have to take time away, get to the net. That's what worked early on, very early on in that first set. But he got away from it.
That's it, 15.
We saw some of your answers coming in as to who this will benefit most. Just another reminder that in their 8 previous meetings, the lone win for Nishikori did come indoors 2 years ago in the Tour Finals in London.
We were talking about at the end of that first set. What does Nishikori do? Does he stick to his guns? Does he try to play offense and risk hitting 20 unforced errors a set? Or does he back off? And obviously the answer is, I'm going to stick to what I do best, and hopefully it turns around for me.
Now they love their champions here, but the runner-up from 2 years ago enjoying quite a bit of support here as he looks to make it 1 set all.
Thank you. Thank you.
No shot for just 3 sets. They're going to go at least 4 indoors at the US Open. One thing that Kei Nishikori does is generate a lot of fandom. He's the pride of Shimane in Japan, his home province and hometown. It's almost impossible for the Japanese #1 to walk around in his home nation now because of all the attention he garners as he starts off set number 3. Called from the chair out, and no disagreement from Nishikori. Taylor, you know, a lot of the top players in both men's and women's tennis, very recognizable, particularly in European and Asian countries, and get noticed and hounded for autographs and selfies. But Nishikori takes it to a whole new level in Japan. He almost has to stay away at times.
He's definitely treated like royalty in Japan.
Yeah, as bronze medalist, first for Japan, first male to reach a Grand Slam final. He's garnered so much attention. Kei Nishikori is virtually unable to move around in his home nation of Japan because of his profile and how recognizable he is amongst people who don't even consider themselves sports fans.
But he stayed humble. He has stayed humble. Rough start for Nishikori. And I've spent a lot of time with Kei down at Bollettieri's. You know, he was younger when I was training there. And Jared Donaldson, the player I work with, has had the opportunity to practice with Kei and Michael numerous times. And he is so polite, so respectful, so humble. And that is as impressive to me as anything else with the amount of fame that he has.
Yeah, he's an interesting personality in a lot of ways, and you can see how much fan support he's garnering here. Much of it because of his runner-up position 2 years ago, but tried the quality pickup, but Murray just out to a terrific start. Goes right at the body as his coach would want.
Oh, for sure. From that proximity, it's the best way to go. In fact, Kei did that a lot to Karlovic in his last round, so no hard feelings.
Got to get up inside the kitchen And it works. Break to love for 1-love. Lendl will be proud, and as he sits courtside, doesn't show much of an expression, but says that's how I would have done it too. Some more of your answers coming in as to who this closed roof benefits more. Kei Nishikori, Andy Murray, we appreciate you chiming in with your name, where you're viewing, and the hashtag US Open World so that we can show some of your responses. Murray serving 1-love. Good to know the viewers are paying attention and want to be involved. It's good to see people coming in from all over the globe.
Nishikori showed a call on the left baseline. The ball was called out.
Murray's not sure. She's not sure.
Nishikori's sure he wants a challenge. Not sure if it's going to go his way.
Ball is not done.
Flush. And they'll replay the point.
That's a better point for Nishikori. That looked a little bit more like the end of the second set. He came out that first game to get broken, and we had the long rallies. He wasn't doing as much with the ball. I don't know if he was just a little off or if he wanted to kind of work himself into this third set, but that's more of like what we saw in the second.
Lot 13.
Great touch by Murray, and again, does it from a very, very offensive situation. This is the best time to drop shot your opponent is just ready to run. And you're closer to the net, you're closer to the bounce, so it cuts down that ball's travel time in the air, giving your opponent less time to react.
Expended a lot of energy that could leave him haggard at the end, but he'll get adrenaline pump as Murray able to chase it down and stay in the rally.
I'm not sure Murray gets tired. I know it appears like he's tired sometimes, but I'm not sure he gets tired. That guy is a beast.
Golf clap from Lendl. Spends much of his time on the links these days when he's not consulting with Murray. Takes a fair bit of money off our fellow commentator Jimmy Arias, I'm told. Sorry, Jimmy. Murray from love 30 to 30 all. But he'll face break point.
Third quarter. Yes. Nishikori still a call on the right. Center service line, the ball's called in.
Yeah, Nishikori pleads his case. He barely moved. He couldn't believe that it was called good. So he'll challenge again.
He was pointing at it like it was a mile out.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
He's rewarded for the challenge, and Murray will have to put another serve in against break point. And the challenge system paying off. One bent over in frustration, the other pumping his fist mightily. As for the second time today, back-to-back breaks. It occurred in games 5 and 6 of the second set. Nishikori returns the favor in the opening games of set 3. One of the other aspects to Kei Nishikori, you talked about how respectful he is and how nice he is. Let's just say that. He's also kind of an intriguing solitary figure. Things weren't easy for him when at 14 he moved from Shimane, Japan to Bradenton, Florida to attend Walteri's camp down in Central Florida. Didn't speak a word of English. Had to kind of manage things by himself, trying to figure out, okay, I'm far from home, miss my parents, can't speak to anybody here, none of the comforts of my culture. Moves to 40 love. Had the opportunity to call some of his matches last year in his title run in Washington, D.C. And the day after he won that title, an ATP World Tour 500, there was no one around with him at breakfast the next day. He spent the better part of 2 hours just on his phone, kind of hanging out alone. Didn't have an entourage. Nobody congratulated him. No one walked up to him. He just goes about business very easily, very content in his own skin. And he has to feel pretty good about the way things have started in set number 3. After he made it a set all, he's got a 2-1 lead. And the other aspect is that Nishikori's fans were boisterous throughout. They seem to be buoyed by the fact that he's got a set in pocket and a 2-1 lead here. Japanese network Wow Wow just down from us. We can hear them. They're going crazy over there. Lendl always pretty stoic. I'm glad there's a little buffer between us and Wow Wow. Because if they're right next door, boy, things can get out of hand. Roof still closed, will remain so for the entirety of this match. Wasn't the cleanest sounding hit, but still managed to get through the court. Murray, thus far today, that's just his 16th winner against 16 unforced errors. And mind you, 10 of those came in the opening set. So he hasn't been as productive from the winner side of late. Credit to Nishikori.
Really good angle, really good width from Nishikori on this forehand. I mean, at a certain stage, there's just too much court to cover if you're hitting both directions aggressively.
And Murray finds his way to 2-all. Well, tennis fan, we appreciate your interest and your answers to our question at Twitter, #US Open World. We also encourage you to get online and go to usopen.org where you can see the video component. And there's so many different aspects that you can see. There's the interview room, post-match, both winner and losers. They're posted. There's an episode called Open Lens, which shows compilations of photos from around the grounds from each and every day. There's US Open Morning Drive. There's previews and top picks as well as top quotes. There's just a wealth of entertainment value at usopen.org. Help yourself.
It's really interesting that fourth game. Murray said, come on, several times, fist pump several times, looking over at his support team, Lendl. And before that, how agitated was he getting? How irritated was he? So he's trying to drown out all of those negative emotions with just overriding them with positive, come on, let's go, let's do this. And looking for that support from the box.
So Andy Murray was being positive?
He was.
Murray 2.0.
We'll go 3.0.
Okay.
There was 1.0, maybe 4.0. 1.0, and then Lendl the first time was 2.0.
He's been so effective with the drop shots, and Murray trying to scamper so quick just never got a firm footing to really get a jump.
That's impressive. I mean, Murray has got to be the toughest guy out there to drop shot. He is so fast. He reads it so well, and he's got such great hands around the net when he gets up there. And Nishikori's had incredible success.
And despite the slip early in his charge, he still got pretty close.
Say 15.
Nishikori. 3-2 lead for Kei Nishikori in set 3. And this best of 3 set quarterfinal now that each has a set in pocket. Indications outside the bubble that is Arthur Ashe Stadium currently, with the roof closed, is that the weather conditions are improving, but that will have no effect on this match. It will stay indoors as Andy Murray steps to the line to serve 2-3, third set. In just about 3 hours, the evening schedule is scheduled to get underway. And perhaps the roof will be back open then. Serena Williams and Simona Halep kick off the evening session. Williams campaigning for a 23rd major title, taking on Halep, who has been on a fantastic roll, winning 21 of her last 23 matches. 9th meeting between them, and Halep winning just once, much like Kei Nishikori against Murray, just once in 8 meetings previously. Followed by Juan Martín del Potro and Stan Wawrinka, winner of that match, to face the winner of the match before you now. Twice as many trips for Nishikori in the middle of the court. A lot of that we saw early in the match seemed to be an indicator that the 6 seed really wanted to apply pressure to Murray and take time away.
I think it's a great play. Although Murray, you know, his level definitely has dropped.
Thank you.
I think that's the biggest reason for this, what feels like a turnaround for Nishikori.
128 miles per hour out wide. Wife Kim approves of the 5th ace for husband Andy, but more importantly, maybe she senses what you're sensing. Says, come on, let's turn this around. Don't let this momentum slip away.
I think if Nishikori ends up losing this match, he's going to look at this 3rd set. This was a big opportunity here. Murray's levels dropped. He just has not been able to get any distance.
So the first 6 games of set 3 distributed evenly, as has much of this set in general. Just 1 point separates the two. Nishikori with 16 points to 15 from Murray, and what has now amounted to a half-hour on court extra. 1 hour 53 minutes overall.
Murray is just on an emotional roller coaster right now. Every point he loses, he's looking at his box saying, I can't hit a ball. Something's going on. Every point he wins, he's screaming, come on, 5 times.
I'm going to watch and see. That wasn't come on.
he lost that point.
15.
I'm not sure we can repeat necessarily what he said, but I think for some tennis fans who aren't immersed but casually view, it's interesting to watch those sort of shots, the overhead bouncing high from the service position, essentially, being able to put it away from there. It almost seems like that shot's easier than just being able to set up and deliver a serve.
Although you don't toss the ball to the roof. I mean, there's a lot of timing in hitting that ball correctly with the distance that it's coming down. I know it bounces, but it's still bouncing way higher than anybody tosses the ball.
That's where the added advantage is. Obviously, you have a lot more time to settle yourself underneath, get in the right position, time it. Less reaction time on the toss of your serve. Okay.
Well, I would just say on the toss of the serve, you don't need that reaction time because you're putting it there, and it's not coming down as fast. You don't. Again, that's kind of what I'm saying is the higher you toss it, the faster that ball's going to drop on you. So your margin for error goes out the window.
Gotcha. Berating himself and really struggling here as Nishikori attempts to reclaim the lead.
Yes.
Neither executing to their liking.
Yeah, I don't know. I find this match entertaining because they're both a little bit off. Their emotions are coming out. They feel this is such an opportunity because neither one of them are playing that great.
And Nishikori's 32 unforced errors to the 18 of Murray.
Advantage, Murray. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Hey, Murray.
For the second time in the set, Murray has a break to take the lead. 4-3,
Murray leads
set
4
three
games to
in New
3.
York.
That's it. 1-0.
Two-seed Andy Murray trying to knock 6-seed Kei Nishikori back on his heels a bit here. It hasn't been the most electrifying match as far as fireworks and execution from both, and yet still pretty thrilling through these 1 hour and 59 minutes.
Well, I think in the physical fireworks, no, we haven't, but emotional fireworks have been plenty. Murray's screaming, Nishikori's getting upset.
15 low.
Murray trying to take control of things here in set 3 as we just a couple seconds shy of 2 hours on court between these two, meeting for a 9th time. Murray has held sway considerably over Nishikori in the past.
That's
With his 7 victories in 8 matches.
very low.
And that includes both victories here in 2016, the Rio Olympics. We've already spoken about that. And how about the 5-set match they endured in the opening round of Davis Cup play? And Murray had to hold on to his 2-set-to-none lead and just able to get across the line in set 5 as Nishikori mounted the comeback. So he knows not to overlook the opponent across the net, even with 7 wins in 8 tries. This will be a statement hold if he can get across the line to love at 5-3.
Odse 15.
The Nishikori anticipation, perfect.
Yeah, Kei guessed right, got lucky, and Murray, he still hit it pretty aggressively, pretty hard, but didn't get quite enough angle and left it within his wingspan. And Murray was in no position to get that poke down the line from Nishikori.
Lateral movement and timing exceptional, but not finished to get back in this 8th game.
Yes. Advantage, Nishikori.
And a rejuvenated Kei Nishikori in his camp as the call goes out for new balls, and hoping that this drama unfolds even further in this 3rd set. Back and forth they go for the 3rd time today. One breaks and the other follows suit in the next game. In fact, we know that this is a battle between two of the best returners in men's tennis currently, and well, the numbers seem to bear that out of late. That is the 5th break in the last 9 games between them. Back on serve.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Players are ready. Love 50.
was some incredible width from Nishikori, taking the ball early, hitting the ball very, very close to the sidelines, making great progress in that point.
And had to climb the ladder once again. The jumping backhand, allowing him to get a little more altitude. Able to smack what amounts to his 6th backhand winner today. Wow, what a returning position from Murray to put the pressure on Nishikori's 2nd serve, at which he came into this match amongst the remaining men's players in the tournament with the highest percentage of success on his 2nd serve. That hasn't been the case today. 11 of 29, and Murray once again crowding Nishikori, attempting to break for the 6th time this afternoon. Each and every time we go over to Ivan Lendl, it looks like stock footage. They could have rolled that in from anywhere, right? His expression rarely changes in any form. He might offer a sly little grin here if Murray can break once again. And he's got it. Murray fired up as he has a shot at a 2-1 lead. He'll serve for set 3 when we return to New York. Now a trio of breaks has Andy Murray back to the lead and serving to try to propel himself a set ahead of Kei Nishikori and 1 set from the semifinals here at the US Open. And you weren't kidding. You said about 4 or 5 come-ons from Murray when he was having success. Heading to the chair, had 2 or 3 good ones, and he has another one at 30 all. Seems to have settled in after his form, well, really seemed to elude him through much of this set. And for the 2nd straight service game, moves out to a 40-love start. But remember, in the last one, ended up dropping serve anyway. See if things change as he holds triple set point. And a statement hold from Murray to close out the set. 2-1 lead. Just one set separates him from the Final Four in New York. The second set had to have a little bit of a pause as they rolled out the two panels that cover the biggest stage in all of tennis. Since that point, it's been a very back and forth, up and down affair. Nishikori and Murray embroiled in this tussle for a spot in the Final Four in New York. Certainly at the current levels, Taylor, you wouldn't expect that any lead to save here this afternoon.
That's exactly what I was, going to say. Is Nishikori's not out of this in the slightest unless Murray can get back to his level he played in the first set.
Nishikori making a bid for his first hold to love on the day. Or excuse me, in this set. Did hold to love once in set number 2. That put the pressure on Murray, who he promptly broke to make it one set apiece. So for the second time, he doesn't lose a point on serve. And it's been that kind of match statistically that has shown how impressive these two are from the line. Or excuse me, not only from the line, but also what they've been able to do from the return position. 27 games played, 10 breaks. Nishikori in the first 4 rounds had only been broken 7 times in total. 6 times today by Murray.
And I think they're helping each other out look good on the stats, on the breaking stats. Nishikori's racked up almost 40 unforced errors for the match right now and 24 on Murray's racket. That's a lot for him. He's normally very, very tidy, only averaging, a few unforced errors per set. And that could be the threat of the other guy on the, the other side of the court saying, well, I have to do more than I'm comfortable with doing against this player.
Murray for the tournament, as you see, service games won. He came into this matchup having won 53 of the 58 games he needed, but he's been broken 4 times today, 2/3 as many times as through the opening 4 rounds himself. That might be a case in point of what you were just speaking about. Nishikori feeling, all right, I'm down 2 sets to 1. I've got to impose myself just a bit more.
Well, and he was looking to come in on that ball too. And he's been hurt a couple of times with Murray getting that two-handed backhand passing shot down below the level of the net. So Nishikori may be feeling like he's got to gas it a little bit more.
That's your love.
And if it's not a conscious thing that the players feel and think about, it's certainly a subconscious thing. Because, when I was watching Nishikori play Karlovic, he would approach to Karlovic's backhand just with a rally ball. Because he had the confidence that even if Karlovic got over there and chipped it, because Karlovic doesn't like coming over the backhand, if he chipped it, he'd have all the time in the world to react and hit an overhead or a volley winner.
Now, if you have a youngster at home that you're working with, and I'm not saying you do currently, but if you did, would this be the type of return, this elevation, that you would recommend, or is it unique to each person?
You don't have to jump. Obviously, it works, right? How many winner backhands have we seen with both Murray and Nishikori jumping off their right foot?
Probably about half of the 13 that they have combined today.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily teach them to jump off the right foot per se, but I would teach them to do the other elements of that second serve return. Take it early, take it on the rise, do damage. I think that's the next evolution of men's tennis, is how much damage will be done to the second serve. And in turn, those second serves are going to have to get bigger, over 100, 110 miles an hour.
Came in at 113 miles per hour and left the racket not that far off that mark. Dozen winners off the forehand side versus 7 from his backhand.
Game Murray.
And lucky number 7 in the ace department for Murray garners him 1-all.
1 game all, full set.
Back to the side of his greatest glory for Kei Nishikori at the Grand Slam events, the 26-year-old in his 8th appearance here in Flushing Meadows. Did not back up his run to the final 2 years ago with much success last year. One and done. And left with a bitter taste in his mouth in 2015, has made the most of a return in 2016.
And he was feeling bitter about that short return. Kei punished.
Fifteen-all.
Just things tensing up just a little bit. You have the feeling that Murray recognizes as a moment to sort of push his chips in, really make a bid for securing the momentum in this set and thereby the match. Always love that shot from the far camera to focus in on how focused Murray is, particularly from the return position. And forcing Nishikori to cover a lot of ground.
And this is danger zone for a couple of reasons for Nishikori. The last 2 games, Murray, his level's gone back up to where it was in the first set. He's stopped missing. He's been moving Nishikori around the court. I don't know if he can continue it for the rest of the set, but it's looking rough.
Yeah, reminiscent of the opening set here and pretty much the entirety of the match against Grigor Dimitrov, when he only dropped a total of 5 games. Good extension and spreading the court open as Murray's forced to give chase by Nishikori to rid the threat on the opening break point out of 2. Married Kim. April 11th. Last year, that is.
It's replay points.
Well, Murray's going to voice his displeasure, but there's not much Cicek can do. Now this will get him buzzing here. There have been a couple of problems with the PA here inside Arthur Ashe Stadium, most notably Anna Konyu the other night serving for the match against Agnieszka Radwanska. She was able to regain her composure. Murray thought he had the upper hand in that rally.
Well, I was just going to say, I think it was a pretty even point. I thought it was pretty balanced. It was a good opportunity to call a let.
And I told you that, and you said we keep playing when that happened. That's what you told us.
All right, well, there's a better indication of what was bothering Murray.
Yeah. And I will tell you this, from a player's perspective, consistency is paramount.
Yeah, and the fans wouldn't know that as they heckle just a little bit Murray, but if he's saying that Cicek said in those sort of situations you play on, you can understand his displeasure. As well as the fact he's missed out on 2 break points. Deuce.
Unbelievable turnaround. Murray looked like his level had risen, and he was ready to just roll in this 4th set. A little bit of fortune for Nishikori.
And Nishikori is able to hold on. He's fortunate indeed as he heads to the chair. 2-1, set 4. Cicek says, well, that was not the same. This was a different instance. It came from the PA and it was louder, and boy, did that set Murray off.
It would have set me off too. Oh my goodness.
Starting off game number 4 from the line when he had double break point, and there was the let play. Wasn't able to get the break. When it finally came to time to call the tournament supervisor, Wayne McEwen, tournament referee at the Australian Open and here in a supervisory role here at the US Open, he came over to talk to Andy. And what he's seeking is consistency. Murray is.
And Wayne McEwen couldn't offer that. All he could offer was, it's a judgment call by the chair umpire.
There's the Australian who is taking his seat courtside, who didn't really have a lot that would assuage Murray's concerns.
And I'd say that's the one part about officiating that frustrates the players the most, is how much judgment call there is for an umpire to make. And it's necessarily so. You know, it kind of has to be that way, because there are some cases where a call would be good and some cases where that exact same call might not apply. So it's tough to swallow when it goes against you.
And for Murray now, the difficulty is the momentum has swung away from him. He had 15-40 in the last game. He's now lost 6 straight points. Well, the longest exchange of the afternoon. And once again, in the equivalent of tennis chicken, it is Nishikori who blinks. He has, over the course of this match, seemed as the longer the rallies go on in duration, that one 25 shots. He just tries to go for too much, tries to pull the trigger, and can't be as patient as Murray can. See if that has an impact on this fourth game. Early indications, it would appear not.
I'm sure Michael Chang cannot believe Nishikori's good luck. Murray looked like he was on the verge of repeating that first set performance. Looked incredible after the first game.
Murray broken 6 times in the opening 4 rounds. Kei looking for number 5 today. Fans of the Japanese number 1 are ecstatic. I dare say elated. I'm scared to look down press row here over towards Japanese network because they can get so emotional. They beat on the windows. They're screaming. It's like Nishikori mania. And when he's not doing well, just tears streaming down their face. They have to be elated right now. I won't look over, Taylor. You tell me if it's worth it. 3-1 in favor of Kei. Fourth set.
Love 50.
Murray's row.
Murray wasn't expecting the serve and volley from Nishikori there. Nishikori did that a lot actually in the Karlovic match. Love that play, serving out wide and sneaking in, taking away time from the opponent to recover.
Say 15. So
An interesting shift in momentum since that clang, that audio intrusion. One has floundered. Murray suffering, but Nishikori has flourished, winning 14 of the last 16 points.
Nishikori leads 4 games to 1 court sets. Murray lead by 2 sets to 1.
Murray's been out of sorts the last couple of games. I think that's putting it nicely. Not sure how he would describe it. And he steps to the line serving 1-4. Yeah, Taylor taken out of his game, mind just focused on things other than between the lines alone. Seems to have given Nishikori a nice little push here. Remember, he could have broken for a 2-1 lead himself in this set. It was not to be. Broken in his last service game. Another hole from Nishikori. Boom. Very quickly 4-1.
That's allowed.
And it's just amazing how much somebody's level can drop once they get distracted out there. And there are so many things. There's a long list of things that can distract you. And for Murray right now, it was just the umpire's inconsistency or his perceived.
Perception, for sure.
That's 8-15.
Nothing going anyways. Andy's way. There's a moth in the flight path.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Another clang. Did not ask Cicek how loud that was.
Forty, 15.
I think the drama just likes to follow Andy Murray around. I mean, you know, any match that he plays, there's always something going on.
His shadow?
Yeah.
Now credit to Nishikori to get over and keep the ball in play and make Murray hit one more shot, and not an easy one.
Oh, it's debatable whether that was easy or not. Now, if Nishikori was in the middle of the court, I'd say you're right. That's an incredibly tough shot. But Nishikori was over in Lendl's lap in the corner of the court. All he had to do was make that ball.
Okay, stickler for details. It was low, below the net.
It was. I'm not saying it was a gimme, but Nishikori's position made it pretty routine ball.
Mr. Murray showing the call on the right. Past that line, the ball's called in.
He's got his full complement of challenges in the set and a disgusted sort of flick of the wrist over his shoulder saying challenge. So we'll have the chase review come and show that Nishikori did find plenty of white paint. There's the culprit.
Thank you.
Pretty good seat.
Thank you.
Dangerous seat.
Advantage, Nishikori. Mr. Murray has 2 challenges remaining.
Murray did not face a break point when he beat Nishikori in the Rio Olympic Games, 6-1, 6-4. He won 82% of his first serves. That was a couple weeks ago. This is a far cry today as he's facing break point once again. That is going to become a dangerous proposition to be out there too long, just taunting everybody. My suggestion, little guys, get out of the way.
Let's advantage, Murray.
Both Murray and Nishikori are just stepping in so far inside the baseline to return these second serves, not giving the server any time to recover, react for that aggressive return.
Advantage, Nishikori.
Murray given so much credit for his defensive skills, his ability to cover the court. Nishikori, certainly no slouch in that department. Has been able to garner him 11 titles, threats as a major champion, extended effort to force another break point. And Andy grousing about the fact a second serve might separate him from this game. Well left, 5-1, Nishikori.
Nishikori leads 5-1, fourth set.
Well, we talked about at the outset of the match, Taylor, that there's a fondness in all of sport around the world for champions. No doubt, winner here 4 years ago, Andy Murray, garnering some. But runner-up 2 years ago, Kei Nishikori is certainly upping the ante as far as the spectator support here in Arthur Ashe.
I think definitely Kei is getting more support than Murray. No doubt about it.
More love from this New York crowd as he serves to force a fifth set. Or are they just greedy and they want more tennis?
Could be.
18 love. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The players are ready. Thank you. That's allowed.
And the crowd getting a chuckle out of the fact that they took some of our feed and put it up on the big screens inside, following the path of the moth or butterfly. It's no laughing matter for Nishikori. He wants to finish this off.
I think Murray's getting mentally prepared for the 5th set.
It would appear he would need to. Now there's been some retirements, some walkovers, some short matches here in the men's draw, but it's not going to be for this quarterfinal. They're going to go the distance. A 5th set awaits Nishikori and Murray. Back inside Arthur Ashe Stadium, a bit of a delay as they humanely try to remove the flying culprit towards the finish of the 4th set, so as to not distract both players. For the 2nd time this year, Murray and Nishikori will face off in a 5-set match. In 2016, Andy Murray has been perfect, winning all 5 of his 5-set encounters. And for Kei Nishikori, 1-1. That loss coming in Davis Cup play. Opening round versus Great Britain. Murray had a 2-set-to-none lead. Nishikori came back but could not get across the line. 6-3 in the 5th. Murray starts off the decider.
Love 50.
That 5-set victory in Davis Cup play sort of gave a boost to Murray, and certainly he didn't mess around at all, Taylor, in their last meeting. 6-1, 6-4 in the semifinals of the Rio Olympic Games. They would both walk away with medals. After Murray got the victory, he took home gold. Nishikori bronze. More importantly, I guess, is going to be the early indicators for this deciding set, is who's going to respond most positively after set 4. Interesting, Taylor, that a lot of times you drop the set, particularly 6-1, and it's the guy who came out on the shorthand who takes time away from the court, walks off the locker room to try to delay things. In this case, it was Nishikori who took about 3-4 minutes just to change out his shirt and get himself composed. Murray just sat there and took in the ambiance, the surroundings.
I think one of the amazing things that I've seen just watching Murray over the years is how one set has no impact whatsoever on the next set. He can look like it's over. Tournament's over, done. And then the next set he comes out and plays incredible tennis, and vice versa. He's played incredible tennis and come out the next set and just like, who is this guy?
Just looking so dialed in.
And Murray's kind of letting him be dialed in. You know, he's not really doing much with the ball. Murray won the 3rd set, kind of playing similar to this, where Nishikori was just making a whole bunch of errors. He had 17 unforced errors that set. But if Nishikori can execute, it's going to be a lot of running for Andy Murray.
And at the 181st minute of this quarterfinal, Kei Nishikori draws first blood in the 5th set. His 7th break on the afternoon of Andy Murray puts him to the lead. Well, the interesting thing to note for coming into this match, Taylor, I think as far as endurance, you know that Andy Murray's fit and ready to go. There's no doubt about it, as is Kei Nishikori. Nishikori had to work a little harder, though, to get to this position and endure 3 4-set matches in order to get to his matchup with Karlovic.
And that's a good point. I think that's a great point. Is can Nishikori handle it? But here's what I will say to that. The Karlovic match, whenever you play Karlovic, there's not many points being played. So that's almost like a recovery day. Just there's big serves, watching balls go by. So I don't think that would have a huge impact on Nishikori's legs.
Yeah, and there's also the added little caveat here that despite the fact that Nishikori played 3 4-set matches in 4 rounds and Murray only 1, Kei actually walked onto the court today having played 28 less minutes. So it's not as if he endured long, laborious moments where he was just dragged around. And he shouldn't be fresh and fit. He absolutely should be. Serving 1-love. Nishikori beat Benjamin Becker, then Karen Hachinoff, Nicholas Mahou. All in 4 sets before beating Karlovic in 3 in the last singles match played on Louis Armstrong Stadium 2 days ago. For Murray, Lucas Rosal, Marcel Granollers, Paolo Lorenzi, the only player to take a set off him en route to the quarterfinals, and the dismantling of Dimitrov 2 days ago.
There's that play again. Serve out wide, sneak in. You take all the time away from your opponent to recover. Just poke that volley to the open court. You can see Murray was caught off guard. Not expecting the serve and volley from Nishikori.
That's it, 15. Mr. Nishikori showed a call on the left baseline. The ball's called in.
Yeah, the flight of the ball certainly didn't seem to indicate that it was going to be in the court of play, and Nishikori asks for the chase review, convinced well beyond the baseline. Two love in favor of the 6th seed. Well, the momentum has certainly been on his side of late for Andy Murray, having won 26 of his last 27 matches. Only loss coming to Cilic in the final of the Masters 1000 event in Cincinnati. He's also won 18 straight matches against players ranked between 6 and 10. Last loss coming in the 2014 Australian Open quarterfinals. He lost to Roger Federer, then ranked 6th in the world. He's going to need a dramatic reversal of fortune to make it 19 in a row against number 7 Nishikori today. I don't know what you're thinking. I see over there that mind turning. It's just one break. It's going to be the hot seat for that young lady as Murray challenges.
Doing a little coaching of his own.
Yeah, well, he's going to be right on the challenge, and he's also issuing a challenge to his box, whether it's wife Kim, coaches Lendl, Delgado, anybody else in there saying, I need your help.
Yeah, fire up. Murray reminds me so much of Leighton Hewitt in that aspect. He got so much energy and so much reinforcement and encouragement from his box, from his supporters. It's kind of a double-edged sword, right? If they're not on the same page you are out there asking for trouble.
Talk about distractions. Another look over to the box with a fist pump saying, all right, come on, give me even more. Yeah, you're not allowed to coach from the box. You're not allowed to cheer during points. Unless there's something I don't know about. There's no such thing as mind readers. It can be difficult to endure a match with Andy Murray barking at you. And he's on the board. So he'll trot to the chair. Finally on the scoreboard in the deciding set. But it's Nishikori who has the advantage early. Set 5. 3 hours and 11 minutes later. He's right in the thick of it. Actually out in front. Leading the number 2 seed, Andy Murray, who's been on an absolute tear since he lost the final to Novak Djokovic at Roland Garros this year. Nishikori trying to hand Murray just his second loss over the span of 27, now 28 matches. And Murray starting to instill himself or insert himself in this match a little more by being more vocal, more demonstrative. Nishikori has to keep his focus firmly. In the air of what he wants to accomplish and not be distracted by Murray.
And Murray mostly content to just make balls right now. He's landing a lot short. Few were deep for that rally, but most of them around the service line. Just hoping Nishikori has a revisit of that third set.
This is the proverbial slide that we thought Nishikori might be able to weather, the way he was able to get through that fourth set. And here's Murray with an abundance of pressure.
Fifteen, 14.
An absolutely disastrous service game from Kei Nishikori. For all intents and purposes, just hands over game 4 to Andy Murray. And just like that, we were speaking moments ago, it seemed as if Murray was lost, couldn't get back on track. And Nishikori is the one who provides the next wrinkle. So deciding set, 2-all.
Love. Pressure was good. First
Man, unbelievable. Both of these guys, their levels are just up and down so much more than you'd see in the past.
Yeah, there's been a massive ebb and flow for both since this match started 3 hours and 16 minutes ago. Karolina Pliskova, who was victorious earlier today in her quarterfinal bid into her first major semifinal, also taking this in. Can't blame her, really, can you? You don't want to be overly dramatic and argue semantics here, but would you say in the context of this match, courageous, brave shot?
Well, I think it's the smart shot. I mean, we've seen it time and time again. He's won, I think he's only lost 1 point. I think he's done it 6 times, 7 times.
He's been effective, but his level at the where he is right this
He has no
juncture.
other answers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not getting through him. He's not hurting him.
40, 15.
You can tell he's just not feeling it. He can't find the measure of the court, can't find the rhythm with his ground strokes. The drop shot, the lone point, has really done any service to Nishikori. It looked as if Ivan Lendl wasn't in the box, but he is hiding, shaded by Jamie Delgado. He's right there as Murray makes a bid towards 3 straight games to grab the lead.
30. Yes.
Was this the turn as the pendulum swung back when Nishikori couldn't find the court now?
Thank you. Thank you.
We know when Nishikori is being offensive and using the ankles, he's had great success. Just hasn't been able to maintain it.
Advantage, Nishikori. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
And Nishikori with the break. 6:30 a.m. in Tokyo on a Thursday morning. People waking up. Put on the coffee. Things are getting excited for Kei Nishikori in New York. For these 5 sets is thoroughly being entertained. It hasn't always been the sharpest and most delightful tennis, but it hasn't lacked for drama.
Ladies and gentlemen, players are ready. Thank you.
And a pop-up out of the field to play.
Love 15.
Foul ball for Nishikori. We talked about the outset, so it sort of proved that we at least had an inkling of what was to come. 2 of the best returners in men's tennis. We know their prowess from that position and how effective they can be. I'm not sure we saw this coming. Taylor, it hasn't been a service clinic by any stretch, but 15 combined breaks on the afternoon, including 6 of the last 11 games.
But I bet if you had information saying that both of these guys, Murray and Nishikori, were going to hit 88 unforced errors through 4.5 sets, that means a lot of breaks of serve. That's just loose tennis, not sharp tennis.
Fifteen, 13.
Just so many uncharacteristic misses for Andy Murray. Like that was a nothing ball. He was in the middle of the court Yeah, he was deep, but that he plays a lot of tennis from back there.
That's a comfortable position for him.
For him, yeah.
He's crafty.
Another one. And again, you asked last time you did it, is that a smart choice? Again, in this situation, I think it is.
Well, I think this one's a little different. He was certainly far more aggressive and offensive with this one. The other one, he was standing back behind the service line. I just thought at the time it seemed a little dicey, but good execution. This one, that was the picture of perfection. From love 30 to a point away from consolidation of the break. And Murray, who has been extra grumpy in this set, will be further displeased. And not done yet with game 6.
Yes. Advantage, Nishikori.
So as Nishikori doubles up his lead in this deciding set, it's interesting to note that this is usually, particularly of late, Andy Murray's domain. He's won 11 of his last 12 5-set matches. We showed you a perfect 5-0 this year, including the 5-set win over Nishikori in Davis Cup play earlier this year. But he's found himself with a steep incline, serving 2-4.
I would feel like for anybody else, this is a make or break game for Andy Murray. He loses this game, match over, win this game, he's still in there. But I've just seen Murray come back from so many down and out situations that it's tough to ever count him out of a match.
That's Halo.
The return winners have been spectacular. We haven't had the fireworks we expected as far as the level of play, but a time or two we've gotten some good pops.
Well, there's definitely been some great points mixed in with the unforced errors. Great shot making, mostly off of Nishikori's racket, as you can see there with the 23-7 winner ratio.
Not the longest rally of this 5-set encounter, but one of the most thrilling.
And again, look at that position from Nishikori on the drop shot. He did execute it poorly as well. But any drop shot when you're standing in the green behind the baseline, it's very high risk.
Murray had Nishikori to and fro. Impressive ball striking from both and footwork, but it's Murray who outdazzles Kei.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, the 18 or 19,000 assembled here said, oh, this is exactly what I'm always trying to do. This is wonderful execution at a crucial time.
It was a good sneak in. Again, Murray just couldn't quite get that backhand underneath the level of the net to make Kei have to pop it up.
And Nishikori, who had been struggling in long rallies earlier, starting to show his mettle, trying to fight back in this 7th game. Give Murray a lot more to think about. Return misses the mark, and Murray has closed to within a game in the decider. It's heating up inside a closed-roofed Arthur Ashe Stadium. They continue on. That's afforded him the position that he currently holds. Speaking of holds, 2 of them, and he's on to the semifinals for the 2nd time in 3 years here at the US Open. And hanging in the balance, potential victory for the first time in his career over a top 2 opponent. And in the current position that Andy Murray finds himself in, time is not an ally. Particularly the way things have gone here, Taylor Denton, back and forth of this. Nishikori pushes to 5-3. Shoulders of Murray will be straining to hold up that pressure.
And obviously there's 2 ways to look at it. If you're Lendl out there talking to Murray, you'd say, look, Nishikori has had bad games. I mean, he's gone away at times. Just hang in there mentally.
He's going to have to take some chances, isn't he, on the return?
It's tough because honestly, when he's been winning in this match, it's not because of anything he's been doing, except for the first set. After that, it's been because of Nishikori's unforced errors.
Mr. Murray's on the call on the left of his line, the ball's called in.
As his body language seems to indicate in his positioning on the court also exemplifies, it doesn't look as if this challenge really is one Andy believes he's going to win, but he issues it nonetheless.
Ball stands. Ball to love.
And trying to protect this lead, look at Nishikori standing up mightily.
Sport safety. Mr. Murray has 2 challenges remaining.
just a step back after being bold to get to 40 love. Boy, that's going to raise the stakes just a bit.
30. Thank you. Thank you.
This is what I'm talking about. If you're Andy Murray, it's too soon to panic. Nishikori's put some really bad games in there.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking for the Nishikori fans to know that 40 love lead has slipped away, and that was a lot of real estate to work with on that volley. First thing you got to do is clear the net. And Andy Murray continues his charge.
Advantage, Murray. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, in his bid for a fourth major final in as many tournaments in 2016, Andy Murray runs off 5 straight points to break Kei Nishikori for 4-all. Already know that he's the 10th player in the Open era to reach all 4 major finals in his career.
Thank you.
But now he's trying to join rarefied air. And in that pursuit to become just the 4th man in the Open era to reach all 4 finals in all 4 major events in one calendar year, it continues to turn the screw now on Nishikori, who seems to just be stepping back. His level has dipped once again, and that could be, well, it creates a dangerous prospect.
Nishikori is resolved to being offensive, taking the ball early, and he's doing so much better when he's able to pull off the angles instead of just rushing it down the line.
That's it, 15.
A lot of activity in the middle of the court for Kei Nishikori today. His 37th attempt to move forward, 25 times successful. The pressure this time unable to be applied.
Forty, 15. 30. Murray. New balls, please.
3 straight games for Andy Murray. Puts him to the lead in New York.
Nishikori's going to have to settle down and just take his time, open up the court, and then look for opportunities to come forward.
Well, we've already seen it today numerous times where it seemed one was just slipping and in danger, just being just ousted and sent packing. It's Nishikori, who is serving to prolong his stay in New York and be a viable member of the men's draw, seeking a spot in the last 4.
Outs. 15 love. That's 11.
The classic Murray play, drop shot to pull the opponent in. And then nice little lob. Have fun with that.
How's that for bold, composed, poised? Use any adjective. Facing elimination, Nishikori holds to love for 5-all.
Final set.
Very friendly game from Andy Murray. 2 missed returns. I don't know what that last forehand was. Very, very nice guy.
I'll tell you what, your opponent can do all that, but yeah, it takes some backbone to step up and be able to hold your own and to do so decisively. So Murray will try to break the tie.
Let's. That's a.
That's the right shot from Nishikori. I love it. It's been working well.
Aggressive from the outset 3 hours and 48 minutes ago, trying to push Murray, especially as you said, that he's got to get the angles and get Murray out wide, but his 59th error today.
Ladies and gentlemen, your voices are carried to the court. Please lower them down. Thank you. 15-30. Thank you.
Pretty fortunate net cord from Murray's perspective.
That's you.
He's able to set up a nice short forehand. Nishikori looked like he was there. Looked like he misjudged the distance on that ball.
I think he might have caught an edge or something about the stretch. Obviously, he was in no position to get back up and be in the point if it did find its way in. But he also might have known that that was going to sail long. 30 all. Wow. A trio of double faults today for both, but how crucial for Nishikori to get a look at a break point this late in the deciding set, and gifted to him by the 2 seed.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
He got it. And Kei Nishikori has broken and will serve for a spot in the semifinals.
Up 15.
Bottini, Chang, literally edge of their seat.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think that's what is going to take this game for Nishikori to hold here. He's going to need some charity from Andy Murray.
15.
Murray's bid for 4 straight major finals in 1 year on the line here. Only 3 other men have done that. In the open air, Laver, Federer, and Djokovic. Nishikori 2 points away from sending Murray packing in the quarterfinals. Kei Nishikori, site of his greatest major triumph, getting to the final here 2 years ago, back to the semifinals once more, as he hands Andy Murray his earliest exit papers at a major in 2016. 5 sets. Nishikori moves on over the 2 seed.